Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, navigating the human experience together.
Hoppaday, Tero, and welcome to your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today we are talking about the CNMI Green Growth Initiative and what it's going to mean for our community. Here to share with us more are co-chairs of the working group, Tina Sablan and Patty Coleman. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
I got to tell you, when the governor signed the initiative for this, and I read it in the paper a few months ago, it seemed like it would create a utopia for our community. Probably not, but you guys have been tasked to kind of take the lead on this. Maybe you could start with telling us what your actual full-time jobs are when you're not co-chairing this working group.
I can start. So I serve as the governor's special assistant for climate policy and planning. And that role, actually in both of our cases, so we do serve as chairs for the Green Growth Working Group, but our actual full-time regular working jobs
that you get paid for.
Yes, are totally aligned with the goals of the Green Growth Working Group. So
well,
I just wanted to note that.
Yeah,
absolutely. I work at Northern Marianas College and specifically Cooperative Research, Extension and Education Services, otherwise known as NMC CREES, as the interim dean. CREES has a number of areas in research and extension, agriculture, family, community, youth development, food science, aquaculture and natural resources, nutrition and health, and all of those areas and the areas that we work in align with the Green Growth Initiatives and specifically the Sustainable Development Goals.
I think anybody who knows you guys and your work felt or feels like I do, which is, oh great, Tina and Patty are in charge. This is going to go well. So
I hope so.
But take us back to the beginning about where did the idea of this Green Growth Initiative come from?
I'm going to turn that over to Patty because it was really an initiative that started with NMC.
Well, part of it was the UN's and countries, governments around the world looking for ways to localize the Sustainable Development Goals. And, they can be viewed as very broad, very ambitious. We like to see them as, say they are aspirational, but they're also pragmatic. And so part of this Green Growth Initiative came from making the SDGs relevant, particularly to small island developing states and communities, which, we're small islands and we're constantly developing. So that's just kind of a broad background, but Tina can perhaps add some more specifics to that in different context.
Yeah, well, and in terms of the Green Growth Initiative here in the CNMI, so my understanding of the origin story is that NMC approached the governor and said there are these island communities that are embracing the Sustainable Development Goals. We actually have as well in the CNMI's Comprehensive Sustainable Development Plan, but in terms of launching a movement and a campaign and a really concerted effort to bring all these different initiatives that are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals together in a more coordinated fashion, and then to be able to report and celebrate our progress and be transparent about our progress to the community. That's kind of where the Green Growth Initiative begins, and it started, I think. There's Hawaii Green Growth, and then Guam Green Growth, and Guam Green Growth approached NMC and asked if CNMI would like to initiate our own campaign, our own initiative, and And then NMC approached the governor, and the rest is history. But so in that directive that the governor signed in January, so earlier this year, he designates the Northern Marianas College as the hub for the Green Growth Initiative and also for this network that is also aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's called the Local 2030 Islands Network.
I think it's interesting to know that you guys have already formed working groups, and because I haven't read a lot in the media, but it seems like you guys are working a lot behind the scenes. But if I could put it another way, Patty, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like one of the things I read and what you shared, Tina, was locally driven, culturally informed solutions for these big worldwide issues, some that affect us more than others that have come to the attention of the United Nations, and they're like, we need to do something about this. And now they're allowing local communities like ours, who have the expertise on our communities, to come up with ways to address these issues. So is that a good summary also?
That's a fantastic summary.
Yes.
Okay,
Very
awesome.
succinct.
Well, we're all about locally informed, culturally informed, locally driven, culturally informed. But so let's talk a little bit about the working groups. What are the emphasis, or who are the working groups, and what are they focusing on?
Yeah, you want to start with the summit?
I know you have several, or you had a summit, okay.
Yeah, so we had a convening where we called a number of sectors of society, of our community, public, private, nonprofit, and folks were put into different groups based on the SDGs, and then they worked together to come up with thematic areas and preliminary plans on how we would, localize, how we would approach reaching these goals, and how we would measure our progress towards these goals. And they also, in those individual groups, elected chairs and co-chairs. And so we have a phenomenal group of leaders from Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda, who are serving as chairs and co-chairs for the different teams that we have.
Okay, so tell us more about these groups and what are their areas of focus. You can start with, I think you have 5.
Right, 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Great.
So Team 1 is chaired by the Commissioner of Education, Lawrence Camacho, and also by Joe Guerrero, the Saipan Chamber of Commerce president, and also business owner. And so those are the 2 primary chairs, and then the 3 co-chairs are Asapo Gumero from the public school system, Diana Hokuk from Rhoda, NMC Rhoda, and Erin Camacho from PSS Child Nutrition Program. So Erin's a dietitian. She has a lot of insights into the food system, child health, etc. So their focus for that particular team is quality education. I'm just going to look at my notes really briefly. Decent work and economic growth, which is SDG 8. SDG 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and 17, partnerships for the goals. So partnerships for the goals, which is SDG number 17, is actually embedded in each team.
And just real quick, SDG stands for Sustainable Development Goal.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So for Team 2, which covers no poverty, SDG 1, SDG 2, zero hunger, SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and again 17, partnerships for the goal. That's Shauna Babauta from Mango, the nonprofit Mango, and Keone Tudela from NMC Cree's agroforestry program. So I just wanted to mention too that Mango is a great partner for SDGs. They're doing a lot of work on the nonprofit side of the CNMI and helping nonprofits to build in SDGs into the work that they're doing. So they're a very important partner for green growth.
It kind of sounds like, you guys were saying in the beginning, yeah, we're co-chairs, but this is our full-time job, and it aligns. And it kind of sounds like this project is really bringing partners who have common goals together, which are also, as you said, the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and then really providing a framework maybe for people to work together better towards their mutual goals. And as you said, measure their progress.
And report our progress.
And report.
To the community.
Oh, okay.
Transparently.
Yeah, I think it is important to emphasize that point. It's that, I mean, everybody's doing great things that they may or may not be intentionally working towards the Sustainable Development Goals already, but bringing people together and placing the work that we're all doing in our different fields and spheres, right, in this framework it's a really good way to, I think, maximize our resources and leverage the partnerships that we have, and then build new partnerships, and then also just have a mechanism for tracking the progress that we're making in these mutually shared goals.
So I do want to give you a chance to talk about the other 5 groups in the second half of the show, but when it comes to the reporting, and I think people are going to be really interested in that, because it is nice to give ourselves a report card as far as, what we're doing right, where we need to improve. So what is that reporting going to look like when it happens?
Yeah, there's some great examples of dashboards that people can look at that we've also been looking at, like the Guam Green Growth. They have a dashboard. It's online. And as Patty mentioned at the summit, one of the questions, the central question that we ask these teams to think about is like what metrics would you use to track your progress, right? And how do we know if we're succeeding in our efforts at reaching these goals? And so, like Guam Green Growth, Hawaii Green Growth, they went through similar exercises in their communities, identifying the goals, the kind of short-term and long-term objectives, and then the metrics for tracking, and how are we going to report on the outcomes so that the community sees that we are making significant progress, and like overall making realizing a better quality of life for our communities, right? Like that's ultimately the goal. That I think is what green growth is really about. It's sustainable development across, and that covers all these different areas of life, which we'll go into that when we talk about the different SDGs and the thematic clusters. But it's everything from clean water to clean energy, and climate action and quality education, workforce development. I mean, it covers all the most important areas of life, and how can we just make things better for everybody?
That's a good point. Green growth is not just about planting trees. It's about really everything, bringing everything together, and really maybe bringing balance to things in a way so that we can all live a better life.
Yeah, and I think revisiting too, traditional knowledge and indigenous wisdom that we already have. Our understandings about how island ecosystems and the people who live within them can thrive if they're working in harmony and in balance, right? I think bringing that into the picture as we pursue these goals is so important, and to me that's what locally developed, culturally informed solutions means. It's we're also rooting ourselves in this place and the cultures of these islands, and making sure that our efforts are aligned with our values.
Very nice. Well, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about the groups. Cool?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We'll be back after this break.
October is CNMI Humanities Month, and it's a full month of celebration, kicking off with a proclamation signing on October 2nd. Young people share their expressions of culture at the Valentine Singabao Poetry Competition on October 11 at American Memorial Park. Get your photos together. We're launching our digital archive community outreach. This month, we continue to honor Governor's Humanities awardees making a difference in our community. And on the 24th is our book launch for The Legacy of a Political Union by CNMI Covenant negotiator, the late Edward Pangilinan. For more information, visit nmhcouncil.org, and Happy Humanities Month.
Looking for resources about Marianas history, culture, and more? Well, check out the Northern Marianas Humanities Council's collection. Our extensive video, audio, and photographic library can be found on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at 670 Humanities. Or check out the written resources on our website at nmhcouncil.org. And for those who prefer a good book, we also have a selection of local publications for purchase. So, dive in, explore, and share your comments as we navigate the human experience together.
Welcome back. We are chatting about the CNMI Green Growth Initiative. And Patty, you gave us 2 of the 7 working groups. Can you give us what the other 5 are and what they are focusing on?
Sure. So Team 3 is focusing on SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 10, reduced inequalities, SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and again 17, partnerships for the goals. And that is chaired by Dencio Manglotna out of the Office of the Governor, Office of Grants Management, and Damian De Leon Guerrero from the Department of Corrections. For Team 4, which is chaired by Mariano Iglesias from the Office of Planning and Development, as well as our new CUC Executive Director, Kevin Watson, and Yvonne Ogumero, also from CUC, and she is a renewable energy engineer at CUC.
Nice.
Yes, and their focus is on clean water and sanitation, which is SDG 6, SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, and 17, partnerships for the goal. So Team 5 is chaired by Sabrina Shai, and we have a vacancy for a co-chair for that group. So we're looking for people to step up, and hopefully somebody who's watching this and listening to this program
will be inspired.
Yes, and is excited to join the Green Growth Initiative. And they're focusing on SDG 13, climate action, SDG 14, life below water, 15, life on land, and partnerships for the goal.
What do you mean life below water? It's like marine life?
Marine
Yeah.
life,
Okay.
yeah. And Sabrina Shai is the Director for Division of Environmental Quality.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes. And Team 6 is Team Nexus, which I'm also on Team Nexus, and it's chaired by Auntie Frances Sablan of Mango and co-chaired by Velma Reyes, who's our Office of Institutional Effectiveness Director at Northern Marianas College. And that is the group that's focused on data and putting together the data that is actually going to be used for our dashboard. And of course, 7, we have an overall steering committee. The chairs are our Governor, Arnold Palacios, and co-chair, President Galvin De Leon Guerrero from NMC, and the chairs from the committees, along with the working group chairs, yours truly, make up the steering committee for the Green Growth Initiative.
I like that, correct me if I'm wrong. Have I missed it? There really hasn't been a lot of publicity about what the working groups are doing. Am I correct?
You mean since the launch?
Since the launch. And for me,
Yeah.
if I'm right, that's actually a good thing, because a lot of times I think we get hyped up with, oh, let's do a press release. And I actually do write a lot of press releases. But if you're working behind the scenes diligently and quietly, I think that's also really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, yes, there's been a lot of quiet behind the scenes work. We have, so in addition to the launch, which was in January, the summit, which was held in March, so shortly, not too long after the launch, We had a clean energy transitions workshop. The governor signed the Blue Planet Climate Agreement, which commits the CNMI to the goal of 100% renewable energy by 2045. It's a very ambitious goal, but other island communities have also jumped on that bandwagon and signed on. And so, and that was another green growth event, right? We have National Clean Energy Week that we're celebrating this month, and so there have been other activities, and definitely when Patty can talk about all the exciting work that they're doing on the regenerative agricultural front, another green growth effort for sure. So there have been things happening, but I think like the next big announcement that we're looking forward to is unveiling this framework and sharing it with the community and kind of giving people updates about like where we go from here and also just as importantly how they can get involved.
You made a good point. Even though something doesn't say green growth on the title, it doesn't mean it's not part of this, as you said, framework, like all these activities that about energy and that are taking place. So it all ties together. That was the purpose, right?
Right. And I mean, and you may see the green growth logo here and there on these things that maybe people might not know right away are green growth events. And so like, for example, we just released our priority climate action plan in April, right? Or May, recently. And that was, that has a green growth logo on it, and we worked with our green growth partners in developing that action plan. And so, there's lots of examples like that.
Yeah, we also had a few other things. We had, after quite a long hiatus, the Rhoda Agricultural Fair, which was coupled with the Rhoda Gilita Festival, also another, green growth activity over there. It was so wonderful to see the people of Luta and how they live green and their ability to teach us about doing things that ground us in culture and are good for human health and good for the environment. Kevin Watson went to the Marianas Islands Legislative Association meeting, a joint convening of the legislature from Guam and the CNMI. Excellent presentation where he talked about green growth and the move to renewable energies and the quantifiable steps that they've already taken to push the CNMI in that direction in alignment with the governor signing the renewable energies commitment as well. And so we also have the Tinian Ag Fair, which has also been on a rather long hiatus, which is kicking off in October. It's been great engaging with the Cattlemen's Association there. Maria Ugun, our Tinian site director for NMC, is co-chairing that with Gil Borja, the resident director from Tinian. They're doing a great job of engaging with the community, restarting that and giving it a definite, green growth kind of flavor to it. And, one of the things is that I think that I find really inspiring is we've been able to accomplish these things so far, and we're still very much in our infancy, but we don't have any full-time employees actually committed to the Green Growth Initiative. So it's really the committees, Tina, the governor, and Dr. G, who have, put forth this extra effort, in the spirit of wanting to lift the tide for everyone, which is something that Dr. G always emphasizes for NMC. And so it's inspiring to see that. But in the very near future, meaning 1 to 2 weeks, we are going to have a full-time green growth coordinator. We have some exciting things, a big project kicking off in November, focused on community-based human health, improving health outcomes in collaboration with some of the public and private sector health care providing organizations. And of course, we are going full steam ahead once we get that coordinator with continuing to build the dashboard, which takes a significant amount of time and resources. It took Hawaii some years to actually launch their dashboard. So we're trying to do that in a fraction of the time with a fraction of the resources. But, as we've seen with our community, we have the spirit, we have the grit, and we have a track record of when we pull together, we can accomplish phenomenal things. And I think that's one of the things that it really excites us about green growth, is seeing people work towards, things that are just going to be great for our community in so many ways.
I like that, a reminder of how we are best when we work together. I mean, it's been proven over and over, and this is just like one more example of that. Ladies, I want to thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to come and share with us. I give you time for any final thoughts and maybe a plug for people to come out and help.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Kathy, and for having us here for this Humanities Half Hour. I know we've been meaning to and trying to make this work. So, yeah, I'm just so glad that we could come in today and share the good news. And I think if people want to get involved, they are certainly welcome to call NMC. And as Patty said, we will soon have our full-time green growth coordinator. That person will really be, I think, the main point of contact, but they can also reach out to me. I'm currently stationed out of the Bureau of Environmental and Coastal Quality Office, and my number is 664-8527 or tina.sablan@gov.mp.
tina.sablan@gov.mp. Okay,
Yep.
great.
So I just wanted to mention two things, Kathy. One is that, NMC, one of the reasons that NMC is the hub is because we envision the Green Growth Initiative being sustained beyond political administrations. And we, that's, the college is here for the community. We have a very important role in the development of our community. And so I think, Dr. G and the governor are, to be commended for seeing that, because, one of our assumptions is that higher ed and NMC have a certain degree of political resilience, which is very important when you're working on things like the SDGs that require long-term, incremental growth and development. And I just wanted to leave with something a little more lighthearted, which Glenn Manglona had me on his show. And, I was kind of stressing out about using the Green Growth Initiative name because I couldn't find translations in Chamorro and Rafalawa. So I'm kind of like, maybe we just need to scrap this name because it doesn't translate well. And so, I'm not a language expert at all, but, Glenn, when he spoke to me and invited me on his show to talk a little bit about green growth and regenerative development, and he said that the translation that he wanted to give us is Linala Betimona. So, it's looking forward with a green growth and our, own cultural perspectives that have helped us persevere to this day. And so I wanted to ask our Rafalawash brothers and sisters to also help us along. And if they have a translation that we can use for the Green Growth Initiative, to please bring it forward to us. It would really help us, close the loop on having the translations of the languages of our islands. So
I like it because it sounds like Mr. Manglona didn't actually translate it. He gave an equivalent, locally driven, culturally informed equivalent to green growth.
That's right.
And perfect.
The spirit is there.
Yes, and the spirit.
You can feel the green growth spirit.
Guys, thank you so much and wish you all the best. We're looking forward to the results as we move forward, as you said.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Our guests today have been Tina Sablan and Patricia Coleman. They are co-chairs of the CNMI Green Growth Initiative Working Group. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour has been made possible in part by a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Democracy demands wisdom. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities. For more information or to share your thoughts, contact the Northern Marianas Humanities Council at nmhcouncil.org or on social media at 670 Humanities. That's 670 Humanities.